So we saw in different countries that the crime families and the pimps took over the market, and prostitutes had to take customers to far away places, so nobody will
so they're
find
still
them.
going to find a way to do it. That's what you're saying.
And the worst thing, that the customers didn't want to leave any details, in any contact details like number or name, and the worst part, they didn't want to use any condoms because they didn't want to leave any trace, didn't want to leave any DNA. So we have a big problem, the disease, the infection, and I think the law, as it is, like it is today here, does not give the answer for these questions.
Doesn't give the answer.
I have many answers.
And another thing, I just want to know what will be with the surrogates.
Okay.
What is going to be with the surrogates? Because
it's a totally different issue, and I know it's connected, but we don't have a lot of time for that.
Moran is talking about a situation, and she says, well, it's terrible, and we can't do anything about it. Let's leave it the way it is. The government doesn't see the things in such a well, I don't want to.
Well, I don't know if she says she wants to leave it the way it is.
I want to say the solution that we put is exactly a solution that is answering those things that Moran mentioned, because once you do not incriminate, you do not have a trial, you don't need evidence. Therefore, all the concerns that are talking about not using condoms, hiding away, and so on are not relevant, because having only the administrative fine means that if a policeman enters an apartment where there is a brothel or something which is similar to that, he can give the fine to the clients, and this is enough. He doesn't need to take them to trial. He doesn't need to have evidence. And this is also what is bad.
The fine,
this is also what is bad about it, because, of course, many situations of prostitution are not as clear, and therefore they are not right for an administrative fine. But we have when you have something which is more complex, and it's not something, if you have a private apartment, okay, if I'm a prostitute and I have a private apartment, a policeman will not knock on my door.
Right.
And when I open the door, I can always say, this is my friend, this is my lover, this is whoever it is. He cannot give a fine. Of course, when you go into a place, whether it's...
It makes it hard to enforce the law, right?
Of course, it makes it difficult, and that's what I want to say. I think that enforcing...
You have to put a policeman in every corner in order to enforce this law.
First of all, we will all be happy to have a policeman. We will all be happy to have a policeman in every corner.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter for what.
It's not going to happen.
But we don't have the budget.
But this is
exactly... It's going to be very difficult to enforce. What's your answer to that?
This is what I want to say. This law is a declaration. It's a declaration.
It's more symbolic
that consuming prostitution is not legitimate anymore. It's something that should be ashamed of.
So is it more symbolic than deterring?
First of all, there are a lot of laws that are symbolic, even in Israel.
Okay.
And I think that this is something that says,
that's interesting.
Maybe it will be symbolic. We will try to enforce this law. We will try as much as we can. But even the symbolic effect of this law will change the reality of 10,000 prostitutes in Israel.
The symbolic weight is also significant. It is significant. You have to agree with that.
This is why I agree that this version of this law is better than the old one. And because of the circumstances and the need to legislate this law, this is the best thing that we can do. But there is no way to enforce this law. There are not enough policemen. There is no budget. They are not trained to do so.
No, we're working on a budget. I mean, don't speak about budgets, because the budgets issue are still being negotiated with the Ministry of Finance, and we will find the budget.
Different.
I don't know. We have to understand.
How do you deal with the moral issue, at least? For example, or at least the issue where some women, or even many, I don't know the numbers, claim that they're there voluntarily.
Okay, so let me say that, because we had this discussion in my team, when we were preparing the report and trying to understand which bill we should go through with. And we had research from here and from there, speaking of the question of the free choice of a woman to be a prostitute.
Right.
I wrote something that I heard from the Swedish prosecutor who came here, and he said, I don't know one father who will tell you proudly, "Oh, my daughter is a successful prostitute." So let's talk about free choice.
She is free to choose what to do with her body.
No, she's not free.
She's free to choose whoever she wants to vote.
It's not a true freedom because nobody. We talked about it before.
Yeah.
Well, I talked about it here.
We're very aware of this issue. No one that could be capable of making money, good money, in another way would say, "Oh, but I prefer to be a prostitute." It is,
but
many
still
times
she can choose to work as a cashier, as a I don't know, in every kind of work that you want. She chose to work in this line of work because it's easy money, it's faster, and sometimes, you know what, it just is. But she chose
I don't think
it.
it's easy. Easy money is a weird.
This is
easy money.
I'm sorry that I have to say that because Moran is very nice, but I'm sorry. This was very shallow. I mean,
no, it's not shallow because
I'm sorry. There is not one person in the world
that choose to be a prostitute
that would choose to have sex 10 times a day with complete strangers, day after day. She didn't choose. Maybe she was raped as a child. Maybe she's addicted to drugs.
And it's dangerous.
Maybe she has debts and she doesn't know how to pay the debts.
In the report from 2016, in the report from 2016, only 5% of the women in this survey said that they're using drugs. Only 5% admitted using drugs
and having which survey you're talking about because it's not true, and the issue is
it's the government definitely survey. It's not mine. It's
but the number is not
5%.
The number is definitely not 5%.
And 9.5% of the women worked in the street prostitution. So we have to see it's not the majority. The majority of the women who works in this industry choose to work in this, even though it's not morality. It's not my line of work. I didn't choose it, but I can respect her decision to do so.
I must say,
I have to give her time to wrap it up to respond.
Without being in love with this bill, trying to build a whole ideology on the free choice and the joys of being a prostitute and making great money, I think this is a completely wrong approach.
I didn't say she's doing great money.
I don't think that we should renounce the honest try to try and reduce prostitution, by the way, by better social laws, by taking welfare to the next step.